In today's episode of Value in My Toy Collection, we're going to value some old and new Sesame Street items. And make sure you stay until the very end of the video, and we'll let you know how much everything's worth in a grand total. Hey everyone, my name's Chris. I'm a full-time beauty pageant director as my career, but in my spare time, I'm a huge toy collector. I've been collecting toys now for over 40 years. You can officially call me a toyaholic. Thanks so much for checking out my YouTube channel. My channel consists mainly of two things: beauty pageants, which I love, and toys, which I love even more. My dream in life has always been to own a toy museum. So it's finally happened. I've bought a building, and now I've got to move this massive collection and value it into the building. We're calling it the Toy Vault because it's an old bank building located in Crystal Springs, Mississippi that actually has two large vaults. So now I'm just going to make a ton of videos and value my toy collection, and then I'm going to make some where I take you shopping with me to thrift stores and flea markets and toy stores to let you see where I find all these goodies. So let's start this episode of Value in My Toy Collection and value some toys. Let's jump right in and see what everything's worth. We'll start out with some of these little figures we have. We have a ton of these figures, and we're just going to roughly value most of them at about $3 each. Some are going to be worth more than that, but I don't have the time to look up every single figure. I looked up a couple of them to see if they were worth a little bit more, but most of them went from like $3 to $5. Had that little Elmo spoon and fork set. It's worth about $4 for both pieces. And all these little figures, again, are just about $3 each. The ones in the cars are worth more like $4. The Snuffleupagus is worth $12. And the little Abby, she's a real heavy figure. She's worth about $6. But I'm sure these little vintage Cookie Monsters and Grovers, they have to be worth more than $3. But like I said, I'm just going to say $3 for all of these. There's that other spoon. There's another little car for $4. All right, let's see what else we have back here. Some more figures. There's another little Abby figure. Here's a Big Bird seed bank. It's worth about $20. And we have this Big Bird bubble bath bottle. It's worth about $15. And this little Ernie in the bathtub car, he's worth about $6. Little Cookie and Elmo 2-pack's worth about $24. And these little plush figures are worth about $2 each. Now this big Count figure, he's worth about $9. And Bird, he's worth about $2 or $3. I have this vintage Big Bird candle worth about $12. It went all the way up to $20, but I think $12 is plenty. This little bus set's worth about $16. Oh, all these little Abby rings are worth about $2. And then here's another one, the little $2 plush. I have a ton of those little ones. That wasn't worth anything. Here we have a vintage Grover plush. He's worth about $25. And then we have, these are left over from our Disney stuff from our other video. We have a Minnie and Mickey car. They're both worth about $8 each still on the card. We have this vintage car with Oscar the Grouch, Ernie, and Big Bird worth about $18. All right, still got a ton of stuff. Let's see, we have these little figures still in the pack. They're worth about $5 each, so that's another $25 we can add to our grand total. And then we have this little book, Space Pizza. It's worth $18. That's kind of unusual for a book. And then we have this big Count figure. He's worth at least $20. He's pretty old. Just needs a little bath. And then we have this Grover plush. He has his boots on. He's worth at least $35. He's really cool. And we have these little Mickey Mouse dishes. They're worth about $3 for the set. Not too much. Have a Ernie plush. He's worth about $6. And then we have this really cool vintage Cookie Monster puppet worth $35. Next item surprised me. Is a vintage Mickey and Minnie sweater for kids from the 80s worth $25, and there were several online for $25 all the way up to $45. I didn't know that was so valuable. Have this old Mickey Mouse guitar that needs some love worth about $8. And this Elmo guitar that's worth about $20. And then we have this vintage Mickey Mouse phone set, and it's worth about $20. And then back here in the very back hidden, we have these big Mickey Mouse plush gloves. They're worth about $20 for the set. And we have a little garbage can for Oscar worth about $1. Next we have a book, Bert and the Magic Lamp. It's worth about $9. And then we have a Big Bird book. It's worth about $5. And then we have this Mickey Mouse bucket. Probably had popcorn in it from the Disney parks. It's worth about $15 since it's an anniversary bucket. Have this little Mickey bottle of cologne. We used all the cologne. It actually didn't smell that bad. And the bottle itself with the box is still worth about $8. It has a little red top that goes with it. Little Mickey and Minnie tins worth about $6. And this cool Donald and Goofy figure pack is worth $40. And then we have this Rapunzel book with Mickey, and it's worth about $5. And that Snow Globe's worth about $25 from 2021. You see, we got it really cheap, but the value went way up. Got a couple plush from the Disney store. We have Lady and the Tramp, and they're both worth about $12 each. They're super cute. And then next up, back to Sesame Street, we have this round Big Bird plush worth about $10. Have a random Waffle House mug worth about $10 from 2012. We'll put that with all our fast food items we already did a video of. And then we have this really rare from Splash Mountain Brer Rabbit worth $25. This Mickey Mouse jar is worth about $12. And then we have Mickey Mouse in his car. He's worth about $10. Found all this Disney stuff I missed in our last video. Got this big Cookie Monster plush. He's worth about $15. And they got this little really cool Oscar the Grouch in the garbage can from Fisher Price. Only worth about $8 because he won't pop up with the little air squeezer anymore. Now this one's really cool. This is a Sesame Street Honker stuffed animal worth $45. And then we have this Ernie figure, about $7. And then a big Bert plush doll worth about $15. And we have Elmo with a flower. He's worth about $20. This little Cookie Monster figure in the cookie jar worth about $15. And then we have a Zoe plush figure. She's worth about $16. And then we have some Elmo egg containers for Easter, and they're worth about $10. We have an Oscar the Grouch plush. He's worth about $20. He's vintage. And then this little Ernie figure plush worth about $7. Then we have some little figures still on the cards, and they're all worth about $5 each. We have 5 of those, so that's another $25 we can add to our overall grand total. And then we have this vintage Big Bird driving the engine of a train worth $12, and Bert riding on a car worth about $6. And this cool bus picture frame is worth about $15. And then we have this little plastic Cookie Monster. He's only worth about $3. And then this old vintage rattle, and it's probably worth about $6 for the set. Then we have this sing-along Elmo. He's worth about $20. And then we have this really big Cookie Monster with an apron on, and he's worth about $18. Have these little figures in the cars. They're worth about $5 each. And this Big Bird shaped sort of rocking toy is worth about $22. It's kind of rare. It's harder to find. And then we have another singing Elmo. He's worth about $25. We have this vintage firehouse from Sesame Street with all the little pieces and figures, and it's worth about $35 for the set. And then these Sesame Street dishes, still in the original box, they're worth about $25. And then we have a ton of these figures up here. I'm just going to go through these pretty fast. If they're heavy, like PVC figures, I usually average about $3 each for these. Some of them are worth a little bit more than that. And then the cars, usually anywhere from $3 to $5. These that are the little hollow figures that don't have any weight to them, I usually only average about $1 or $2 for those. Usually just $1, because you can get those at Dollar Tree now, but they're $1.25 at Dollar Tree. But some of these older ones are probably worth more, like $7 or $8. But I'm just going $3 across the board to kind of make it easy on myself because there's so many. Vintage Big Bird Christmas ornaments worth about $10. And this Big Bird sailor figure, he's worth about $7. Now these Koosh balls, Cookie Monster's worth $10 and Elmo's worth $10. Some of them went all the way up to $30. Then there's a couple more $3 figures. Little Ernie plush is $3. This Cookie Monster watch is worth about $8. Oscar electronic games worth about $8. And the little bubble bath container is worth about $8. And the Oscar plush in the trash can is worth about $10. We've got some more small plush, and we'll figure these up about, I'd say about $4 each. They're still cute. They just don't have a lot of value. Have this little radio worth about $14. And a couple more little plush dolls. I think that's Abby. And then Grover, about $4 each. And this little vintage Big Bird plush, he's worth more like $13. This vintage birthday cake candle's worth $15, even though it went all the way up to $25. And then let's see, we have a couple puzzles. We have an Ernie puzzle that's worth about $15 still in the box. And then we have this one called Prairie Dawn, and she's worth about $17. She's a little harder to find. And then we have this book, it's worth about $5. And let's see if we can get to all these. These are placemats from Sesame Street, and they look kind of vintage. So we'd value these at about $4 each. And it looks like I have about 6 maybe. So that's at least $24 more we can add to our overall grand total. Then we have these really awesome vintage puppets. The first one is Roosevelt. He's really hard to find. He's worth $60 all the way up to $150. And then we have a Bert and Ernie, and they're worth at least $25 each. Then we have this railroad set. It's complete, but the box is pretty old, so it's only worth about $25. Then we've got a few more things to go through here. We have a Bert and Ernie plush together. If I can get all this down without an avalanche, they're worth about $18 for the set. And then we have this little pop-up toy for kids. It's worth about $20. We have some cool Sesame Street makeup. This small makeup case is worth about $12. And then we have this larger case that's got eyeshadows in it, and it's worth about $15. Got a little car here. I don't know, the little cars will probably value at about $5 each, and the little figures here, more like $5 each, because they're a little more collectible and a little bit harder to find. Like some of these things are probably more like $10 or $12, and some might be $2 or $3. So we just have to kind of take an average when we have so many toys like this. But I'm comfortable with about $5 each for these. Now this is Grover and a little spaceship car still in the package. He's worth about $15. And then here's another little car, probably about $5 for the car. And then about $5 for Cookie Monster and the helicopter. And then we have these. These are vintage Fisher Price, like little peoples here. They're worth about $16 for the set. And then the Oscar the Grouch in the can by himself is worth $15. Came from the Sesame Street playset from Fisher-Price. And then the Ernie figure in the jet ski, he's worth about $5. And then we have this big 12-pack of Sesame Street figures, and it's worth about $40 still in the box. I think I got that from Target. Got Ernie on a raft, he's worth about $5. And then Bird in the canoe, he's worth about $12. And then these little figures, probably about $5 each. We'll just add those to our other total. We have Abby here with her eyelashes that are worth about $12. And then we have these felt masks. They're worth about $5 each. We have one of Bert. And we have Ernie. We might just tack these on the wall at the Toy Museum. They're pretty cool. And then one of Big Bird. About $5 each would be fair for those. Then we have this little Big Bird plush. He's worth about $7. And then we have this cool Big Bird puzzle still in the box worth about $15. And then we have a calendar that's probably worth about $9. And then for a baby crib, we have this mobile that's worth about $25 still in the box, I guess. It's really more Mickey Mouse. I need to move it. And then this Mickey Mouse puzzle is worth about $20 as well. We have this Big Bird Jack in the Box worth about $15. Previous 232 videos of value in my toy collection for our YouTube series, our total was $664,103. Now with this video, with all of our Sesame Street items, we can add another $1,858 to our grand total, which means our grand total so far for episode 233 is a big old whopping $665,961. Now remember, I am no millionaire. I've just been collecting toys for about 40 years, going to thrift stores and flea markets, garage sales, and looking on eBay, and it's just accumulated to this big total. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm off to make some more videos and see what everything's worth and just to see what all I have, because it's just like Christmas to me looking through these shelves. Haven't seen it in so long. If you want to see the toys up close, you can also find us on Facebook under the Toy Vault of Mississippi. So until the next video, we'll see you then.